welcome back to my channel. The star of today will be Amelia Bedelia. Oh, Amelia Bedelia, it's your first day of work and I can't be here, said Mrs. Rogers. But I made a list for you. And you should do just what it says. Mrs. Rogers went in the car with Mr. Rogers. They drove away. My, what nice folks! I'm gonna like working here, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went in the house. My, what nice house! These must be rich folks. I must get to work. Here I stand just looking, and me with a whole list of things to do. Amelia Bedelia stood there a minute longer. I think I'll make a surprise for them. I'll make my famous lemon meringue pie. I make good pies. So Amelia Bedelia went into the kitchen. She put a little of this and a pinch of that in a bowl. She mixed and she rolled. Soon her pie was ready to go into the oven. There, said Amelia Bedelia. That's done. Now, let's see what's on this list, Amelia Bedelia said. Change the towels in the green bathroom. Amelia Bedelia found the green bathroom. Those towels are very nice. Why change them? She thought. Then Amelia Bedelia had remembered what Mrs. Rogers had said. She must do just what the list told her. Well, all right, said Amelia Bedelia. She got some scissors. She snipped a little here, a little there. And she changed those towels. There, said Amelia Bedelia. And she checked the list again. That's the furniture. Did you ever hear tell of such a silly thing? At my house, we undoes the furniture. But to each his own way. Amelia Bedelia took one last look at the bath. She saw a box with the exact same words, dusting powder. Look at that, said Amelia Bedelia. A special powder to dust with. So Amelia Bedelia dusted the furniture. She checked the list again. Draw the drapes when the sun comes in. She looked up. The sun was coming in. Amelia Bedelia looked at the list again. Draw the drapes. That's what it says. I'm not much of a hand at drawing, but I'll try. So Amelia Bedelia sat right down and she drew those drapes. Amelia Bedelia marked off about the drapes. Now what? Said Amelia Bedelia. Put the lights out when you finish the living room. Amelia Bedelia thought about this for a minute. She switched off the lights and then she carefully unscrewed each bulb. And Amelia Bedelia put the lights out. So these things need to be aired out too, just like pillows and babies. Oh, I do have a lot to learn. My pie! Exclaimed Amelia Bedelia, and she ran to the kitchen. Just right, said Amelia Bedelia. She took the pie out of the oven and then she put it down on the table to cool. Then she looked at the list. Measure 2 cups of rice. That's next, said Amelia Bedelia, and she found 2 cups. And she filled them with rice. She measured that rice. Amelia Bedelia laughed. These folks want me to do funny things. Then she poured the rice back into the container. Let's see what's next on the list. The meat market will deliver a steak and a chicken. Please trim the fat before you put the steak in the icebox. And please dress the chicken. When the meat arrived, Amelia Bedelia opened the bag. She looked at the steak for a long time. Yes, she said. nicely. Amelia Bedelia got some lace and bits of ribbon. And she trimmed that fat and she put it in the icebox. Now, I must dress the chicken. I wonder if she wants a he chicken or she chicken. Amelia Bedelia went right to work. Soon, the chicken was ready. She heard the door open. "The folks are back," she said. She rushed out to meet them. "Amelia Bedelia, why are all the light bulbs outside?" asked Mr. Rogers. "The list just said to put the lights out. It didn't say to bring them back in." "Oh, I do hope they didn't get aired too long." "Amelia Bedelia, the sun will fit the furniture. I asked you to draw the drapes." I did. See?" Then Mrs. Rogers saw the furniture. "The furniture!" she cried. "Did I dust it well enough?" said Amelia Bedelia. "That's such nice dusting powder." Mr. Rogers went to wash his hands. "I say, these are very unusual towels." Mrs. Rogers dashed into the bathroom. "Oh, my best towels!" she said. "Did I change them enough?" said Amelia Bedelia. Mrs. Rogers went to the kitchen. "I'll cook the dinner. Where is the rice that I asked you to measure?" "I put it back into the container. But remember, it measured 4.5 inches. "Was the meat delivered?" asked Mrs. Rogers. "I trimmed the fat just like you said." "It does look nice." "Lace! Ribbons! Oh dear!" "The chicken. You've dressed the chicken?" "Yes, and I found the nicest box to put him in." "Box!" exclaimed Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers hurried over to the box. She lifted the lid. There laid the chicken. And he was just as dressed as he could be. Mrs. Rogers was angry. She was very angry. She opened her mouth, was about to tell Amelia Bedelia she was fired. But before she could even get the words out, Mr. Rogers put something in her mouth. It was so good, Mrs. Rogers even forgot about being angry. "Lemon meringue pie," she exclaimed. "I made it to surprise you," said Amelia Bedelia happily. At that moment, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers realized that Amelia Bedelia should stay, and so she did. Mrs. Rogers learned to say, "Undust the furniture, unlight the lights, close the drapes," and things like that. Mr. Rogers didn't care if Amelia Bedelia trimmed all his steaks with lace. All he'd care about is to have her there to make lemon meringue pie. The moral of the story is, use your imagination and have fun. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, keep reading and carry on. Bye! Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. The story of today will be The Snail and the Whale. This is a tale of a tiny snail and a great, big, grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. "The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail," said the tiny snail. There were other snails in the flock who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock. And they said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wriggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed. Then she cried, "I got it, I'll hitch a lift. This is the trail of the tiny snail. A silvery trail that looped and curled and said, lift wanted around the world. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright. A humpback whale, immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starry sea and said to the snail, come, sail with me. This is the sea, so wild and free, that carried the whale with the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands, with fiery mountains and golden sands. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked, that sprayed and splashed. The tiny snail on the humpback whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where stripy fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grills swam around the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky, so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning, flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. And she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all. And she said to the whale, I feel so small. But then came the day when the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away, and this is the whale lying beached in a bay. Quick, off the sand, back to the sea, cried the snail. I can't move on land, I'm too big, moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, I've got it, she cried, and started to crawl. I must not fail, said the tiny snail. This is the bell from the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot, and this is the snail with the itchy foot. The teacher turns pale. Look, said the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. Then all the children ran from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and villagers shouting, hooray! As the whale and the snail travel safely away. Back on a dock, and the flock on a rock, who said, how times flow, and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves, and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail, and they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue come back when. And the moral of the story is, the world is so big, go travel. If you liked my video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, keep reading and carry on. Bye!